So, Mega Man is a bit of an interesting series. There are 12 mainline games, despite our newest game being called Mega Man 11. They forgot Mega Man and Bass, and I can't really blame them. When Mega Man was created, he wasn't the biggest success that Capcom was hoping for, believe it or not. No, that would be the second game that made all the money. Some people believed it was partially due to the North American box art, which is just awful and was never mentioned again in any game, excluding a fighting game. Yeah, the bad art Mega Man actually showed up in a fighting game called Street Fighter X Tekken, but I'm not reviewing that game as of yet. Okay, there are some other cameos here and there, but I'll get to those games later. I don't even think this is the main reason Mega Man didn't work out. No, I think the biggest reason is the absolute beast of a difficulty spike towards the end of the game, the Yellow Devil boss fight. This thing is just mean. Not to say the game isn't difficult, it's pretty tough, but a lot of people consider this one of the hardest NES games of all time. I don't know why. Tough? Sure. One of the toughest? No. I've played and beat Zelda 2, and even played a bit of the first Castlevania, which isn't even the hardest Castlevania on the NES. The difficulty for Mega Man 1 is a bit overhyped in my opinion, and even as my first Mega Man game, I still really enjoyed myself. That being said, I do get why 2 is recommended over this game, and it is one of the most difficult boss fights ever in a video game, so let's do it. Let's take on the Yellow Devil! Okay, so obviously Dr. Wily is the main bad guy, but I had to take the chance to not use him in the title when I can. Because he's the main bad guy. All the damned... Anyway, let's get to the plot. If you want the full story of the game, don't bother with the manual from the original North American release. It talks about some monsteropolis and lists Dr. Light as a bad guy. The plot is more or less that Dr. Albert Wily and Dr. Thomas Light, both having doctrines in robotics for some reason, ended up at odds with each other. Let's clarify, a doctor is someone with a doctorate in a field of study. They aren't medical doctors. I think that ignorant joke has gone on long enough, right? Doctor, the word itself, is derived from teacher. There, joke killed. It was a dumb one anyway. So Dr. Light and Dr. Wily have been friends. They parted ways like Reed Richards and Dr. Doom. Wily returned suddenly and reprogrammed 6 robots that were created to help with the construction and used them to lead his robot army. With this, Dr. Wily aims to take over the globe with construction bots. Somehow. Rock, a robotic child of Dr. Light that he created, because, dating was too complicated, has a sense of justice, so he wanted to fight Dr. Wily. Being upgraded with weapons, he becomes Rockman. Yes, his name in Japan is Rockman, and yes, his sister was named Roll. Rock and roll. Anyway, here in the States we know him as Mega Man, and while I think both names are actually kind of badass, I will stick with the one I'm most familiar with, Mega Man. Anyway, Mega Man goes out to defeat his brothers and stop Dr. Wily. And yes, for my research, all the original Robot Masters were made by Dr. Light, not Wily. Even the computer thing that has the bubble in Wily's fortress is just a bunch of computers that were made to monitor water pollution that he just kind of reprogrammed to charge at Mega Man. The Yellow Devil was created by Dr. Wily, though, being the first robot built for combat completely. Wait, does that mean the entire army are just reprogrammed robots? Believe it or not, I don't have this on script by any means, but I did look into it, and yes, all of the robots are reprogrammed by Dr. Wily, meaning that they were all Dr. Light's creations that were helping out with dangerous jobs in construction. So, yes, his entire robot army is literally just Dr. Light's robots reprogrammed. Yeah. Either way, Mega Man rips through all of them and even a clone of himself and manages to wipe out Dr. Wily's big ship too. And then the game just ends. No conclusion or anything, the game just straight ends. Is Wily arrested or something? Did he escape somehow? I'm not sure. The only thing I really know is this. The only reason Mega Man, or Rock himself, wasn't reprogrammed is because he and Roll were kids. Wily didn't see the potential in them. He literally ignored them in the mass reprogramming. Oops. I'm sure the programs he used is corrected by now, but dang, someone really messed up. Still, having no real proper conclusion is a bit of a miss. Even if Mega Man wins, he just leaves Wily out in the world. That's a bit of an issue. Let's move on to the presentation a little bit, and yeah, Mega Man has some great sprite work. The city environment looks futuristic enough, but modern enough to tell which each robot master originally was supposed to be helping with. For example, Gutsman has a stage in which a lot of mining is taking place. The enemies have pickaxes and hard hats, and Gutsman moves big rocks and boulders. Iceman and Fireman help with plants that use fire and ice respectively. And Cutman and Bombman are in construction fields in the cities proper. Electman is helping with a massive electrical tower. All of this really helps build the world of Mega Man in a fantastic way. The enemy designs and boss designs help with this too, with Wily's fortress being a pit of traps and nasty robots all the way through. Wily's ship, the Yellow Devil, and the water robots are all designed pretty well too. I'd say the music is a bit weaker overall though. Don't get me wrong, Cutman and Electman have some really good stage music, while the Wily battle theme is pretty intense as well. The rest of the music isn't bad, but I could take it or leave it personally. Not bad music, and it works for the stages, so it isn't like losing a point for music or anything. I'd just say there are better NES soundtracks out there, but the OST isn't terrible. It's just nothing super special either. It's good, it does what it does well, but it doesn't go above and beyond. Moving right along, let's get the biggest issue I have with the gameplay out of the way. Mega Man drops like a sack of rocks if something drops him. Jumping slows it down, but dropping is insane in this game. This causes an issue in Gutsman and Dr. Wily's castle when you have platforms that drop Mega Man. There is no recovering if you get the timing wrong. These platforms will absolutely kill Mega Man in an instant if you miss the jump off point, and the timing is pickier than it may look. Mega Man also doesn't like stopping on a dime, and the game is aware of this. There are health pickups hidden in places that are kind of picky to reach. Mega Man has a lot of weight to him, and that can cause issues when you start eating hits like Darkness from that one anime. Health pickups aren't exactly common either. When fighting enemies that drop them, oftentimes you just have to grind just to heal Mega Man. Luckily, while these issues cause challenges, there are options you have. Mega Man has a buster cannon that will fire a lemon straight ahead and can be used for pretty much anything. Yeah, I rarely use the other weapons because of how good the lemon shooter was this time around. But there are other weapons you can collect. Each of the robot masters you take down, you gain their weapons, which has limited ammunition. Bomb Man has bombs that really suck. They take forever to actually damage anything. Guts Man allows you to throw pieces of the environment, which is very situational. Incredibly situational. But the rest of the attacks aren't actually all that bad. Iceman has a freeze ray, Cutman has some powerful boomerang scissors, which are useful, but hard to aim, and Electman's power is actually just amazing. It fires 3 directions and does a bunch of damage. Fireman's ability? I forgot to use, but it's pretty useful too. Most people take out Bomb Man first though. Why? And yes, I'm well aware that the reason why most people go after Bomb Man first is common knowledge at this point, but bear with me, just in case somebody hasn't played Mega Man. I am reviewing the thing after all. It's because he's the easiest Robot Master to take out with your normal Buster Shot. See, each Robot Master is slightly weak to each other's powers. Bombs are useful against Gutsman, while his Rock Throw really hurts Cutman, and so on and so on. Some of the levels are easier with certain weapons too. Bomb Man not only is the easiest to take out with the Buster, but his level is also the easiest to beat with your regular weapon. Simple as that. That isn't to say the other levels are impossible without weapons, but you'd most likely have to maneuver really well or take hits you don't need to tank. Not that I don't already do that. Yeah, I find switching weapons a tad bit intrusive, so I often forget to do it anyway. And with limited ammunition, I typically don't experiment too much. Again, you can play this way if you wanted to. The only real issue I have with the level design is the platform gun thing. It's hidden in Electman's stage. I don't like it for a couple of reasons. One, if you don't have Electman's powers, you can't get it, meaning you do have to replay the entire stage. 2, if you find that you ended up at the end of the path that has this weapon, because it's a branch path, you're stuck. As if I don't get hit enough, now I have to retrace my steps past several traps and screens to get back where I was when the split occurred. Thanks, Capcom. Then there's a couple of difficulty spikes. There's an area with disappearing and reappearing blocks that are just annoying. Luckily, I grabbed the platform gun. There's Fireman in general. Man, he's tough no matter what, even if you have his weakness. Some moves aren't fun to try and dodge from certain enemies. And the Yellow Devil is just a pain in the ass. In the original version, there is a cheat to killing him really fast, but I never got that to work on the Legacy Collection. He's a beast, and part of the reason Mega Man's less than favorable controls are really considered bad, it's mostly because of this guy. Yes, the Yellow Devil needs precision to actually beat, and that's kind of hard to do when Mega Man weighs a ton. Wily gave me trouble in my original playthrough too, but this time, I don't know, he wasn't too bad. Still, overall, the game has tough points. But the level designs are still actually pretty good. Actually, the game also has lives and continues, but the continues are unlimited. You lose progress if you game over at a level, sure, but with enough time, you can eventually beat the game. And in the Legacy Collection, you even have save states to save sometimes if you know a tough boss is up ahead. That's actually really cool. And if you like bragging, you can show off your high scores! Something you can get with repeating levels and boss fights. You have to repeat Electman stage once to beat the game already, so sure, why not? Yeah, the reason I brought up the platform gun as it was kind of hidden, is because it's not a secret. You actually have to have it to beat one section in Wily's castle. Outside of the platform gun, there really isn't anything hidden in the levels besides health, ammunition, and lives. All of this is useful to beat the game, sure, but some places are so hidden, and they're so hard to get to, that it's almost insane to even try. Some enemies will give you health and lives on the rare occasion too, but they mostly drop things that boost points. Yay? Overall, there really isn't much reason to explore these levels, especially when it gets easier to grind deaths to get to the next continue, which refills all the ammunition, and it gives you 3 lives, so there you go. Now, all of this being said, there is Mega Man powered up. Yes, there is a PSP remake of the original Mega Man game. Getting it to work seems to be a real struggle, but overall this version is considered better. I actually got this to work, which I was kind of shocked about, so I'm going to talk a little bit about it here. I didn't beat it, but I did play it just so I could talk to you guys about it. Basically, this is the 3rd version of the game. Yes, there's Wily Wars, but that's just a graphic upgrade. I'm not going to worry too much about it here. This version is very unique. It didn't sell well because it was on the PSP, which, I mean, honestly, let's be real, that isn't the best plan. But they should really re-release this version. It's amazing. Better graphics, unlockable robot masters, and 2 brand new levels to match up with the other Mega Man games. Because the other Mega Man games all have 8 boss fights rather than 6. That's amazing. Being able to play as Bomb Man or other robot masters is really cool if you defeat them with nothing but the Buster Cannon. And yeah, you can actually create your own levels to be used online. Wow. Too bad getting this version is a beast and a half. You either have to have the original PSP or emulate the game. But this is a very fun version. It plays better, has secrets to find, level builders and tools to collect in the main game, and unlocking the other robot masters, secret dialogue, and even more. Overall, this is the better version of the game, bar none. And I wish Capcom would re-release the game so we could all play it. The only issue I ever found playing this is the voice acting. Yes! The voice acting. Wily doesn't sound great, and honestly, for some reason, they named Rock Mega in this version, which I find a bit annoying. You know, they call him Mega even when he's not in his armor. That's Mega, come on, Mega, let's go do this. No, now he's Mega Man. I get the idea, but oh, still, fantastic version though. Overall, Mega Man 1 is really rough around the edges. It isn't a bad game by any means, but there are a few glaring issues too. For example, the original plot is pretty good, but ultimately leaves Wily at the end begging for mercy and not much else. The gameplay is fun, but Mega Man is too heavy and some of his weapons aren't very useful, although this is kind of fixed in the PSP game. Some of the levels are a bit rough, though again somewhat fixed in the PSP version, and there isn't any reasons to explore the levels, which is totally revamped in the PSP version. The original Mega Man on the NES and the Legacy Collection is okay. It gets a solid 6 out of 10, with some great mechanics and features, but issues plaguing said features too. The PSP version, Mega Man Powered Up, gets a solid 8 out of 10, and is great. I just don't like the voice acting, and to my knowledge, it doesn't fix Wily's issue. Instead, it just talks like Wily had a change of heart, and this, he's starting to be good? Jeez. At least give him some meds or something. Oh well. Either way, Mega Man is a piece of gaming history, and I do recommend checking it out with the great Mega Man Legacy Collection. If possible, though, play Mega Man Powered Up from the PSP if they ever re-release it, or if, you're a pirate. That version is just better overall. At the end of the day, the NES version is easier to get a hold of, but both aren't terrible. And if you like challenging, platforming, run-and-gun type of games, hey, this is your game. This is your man. Your Mega Man. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching. Take care, my minions.